Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're doing something a little bit different because I've already listened to the album instead of listening to the album and editing and that and it taking some time. I'm just gonna do a review just because I listened to this album late last night. I was watching a guy listen to it, and I listened to a few tracks, so I was like, I'll finish the album and listen to the rest of the album, and then I'll review it tomorrow, or review it tomorrow morning. So here we are. We still have a Megan Thee Stallion album. We still have Omar Apollo album that I'm going to react to whenever I get the time. I work today, so probably be closer to tomorrow or Sunday. Those will be out. We have like Lil Nas X, we have Tinashe, we got a bunch of different releases this week. But I want to focus in on Camila Cabello's new album, XOXO. And this was a roller coaster ride if I've ever heard one. Like, this one was a roller coaster of emotions. There are it's a solid album. It's a solid album. Camila doesn't really go far outside the box as I was kind of hoping for. I still think it's solid whenever she kind of um tries to go outside of the box, of course. And when she stays in her lane to like kind of these ballads, there's a couple of these ballads on the album that I think are really solid. And this album ended up kind of being closer to a hip hop album than a hyper pop album, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the style really fits her. There's definitely a lot of hyper rap esque songs. Obviously, we have a Playboy Cardi feature. JT and Young Miami are on this album. We have two Drake tracks, and I mean, obviously there's other inspiration from rap tracks, like Chanel Number 5. There's a little bit of a rap kind of part. He Knows, again, kind of has a rap twang, but it's mostly like, again, pop, designed for the club, that kind of thing. But it kind of leans more into the rap side than it ever does hyperpop. The only thing that I could say is experimental or hyperpoppy is I Love It. Chanel Number 5 does kind of deal with an experimental kind of style, but I can't say that it's hyperpop at all. June Gloom also kind of deals with this kind of interesting instrumental at the end part that is kind of experimental in a way, but overall the only fully hyperpop track is I Love It on this album. And other than that, there are some solid ballads on this album that deal with auto-tune and have some more complex production than her regular ballads on Romance, Familia, all her other past albums. Um, but, I mean, other than that, there's some reggaeton tracks. Dreamgirls is a reggaeton track. Hot Uptown is a fun summer bop with Drake, and they're kind of contrasting their vocals. It's really fun, kind of very engaging to the listener. I really like that track. And then we have some of the interludes. We have Pink XOXO as an interlude, Koshi XOXO as an interlude. Ugly is kind of an interlude. I'm not sure if that's going to be a future track. And we also have 305 Till I Die. One thing I can say about this album is some of the interludes I feel are not needed. Pink XOXO is a very solid interlude, and I have heard that the interludes on this album are part of a deluxe version that are like future songs. And I mean, I kind of understand that, but I don't really understand why she would wait to put the interludes on, but then wait and then put the full tracks from the interludes back on. I mean, I think Pink XOXO is a really nice interlude, and I think if I were to listen to this album back, or from front to back again, Pink XOXO would be kind of being played. But Koshi XOXO, that kind of breaks up the flow between Dade County Dreaming and Hot Uptown for me. I may like, if there's a future song with BLP Kosher, it's not to say that's bad, but I think the interlude is just not needed and kind of breaks up the momentum from Dade County Dreaming to Hot Uptown. Ugly flows into really well. I would keep that interlude. Going from Hot Uptown, Ugly to Dreamgirls kind of flows in one piece, and it all sounds kind of like one track in a way. On 305 Till I Die, I honestly don't remember much from this interlude. But as far as I can tell, it's not super needed. I think it's a nice kind of interlude to go into Boat, Best of All Time. But Again, I don't think that one is needed. Again, I would really like to hear Pink XOXO as a full track, and I'm pretty sure that one is out there somewhere. But overall, I feel like this is a short album, and the interludes kind of, I feel like they could have been better, and they could have been full songs. Because I feel like some of these interludes do not do what interludes kind of do. You can't have 4 interludes on a 30-minute album. And I just don't know if that is kind of the best direction. I feel like these could have been developed into full tracks, and it would have been more enjoyable. So it does kind of break up the flow in some areas, like Koshi XOXO and 305 Till I Die, kind of in a way. But yeah, this album overall is very 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 solid. There's a lot more ballad-esque tracks on this than I was expecting. Boat is very kind of ballady, has some auto-tune, has some more complex production. It's got the Pitbull hotel room service sample in there. That's really interesting, and I don't know if it'll throw people off. I don't know if people are going to like that, but I think it was really creative. Again, June Gloom does have this ballad, primarily ballad style, and then it kind of develops further into the track, which I really, really like. So they're not plain ballads. Like even 20 somethings, not really a ballad. It's kind of more on the R&B. It definitely reminds me of SZA. I've heard people say that, and it's even got the name. Um, so I do think you can see the comparisons, but that again is a very enjoyable track. But even the ballads on here, like the ballads you could say, um, are way more complex than any other ballad from any previous album, and that kind of helps the album as well because it doesn't break up the flow and it clearly still belongs on this album compared to like it couldn't be placed on any other album that she has. And overall, I think this is I can't speak. Okay, I think this is a very solid work of art from Camila. I still don't think this is her best album. Again, I feel like with more tracks, I feel like this could be better for me, but again, I feel like the interludes break up some momentum of what could have been better. I love the singles. 3 for 3 on the singles. I love it. Chanel number 5, He Knows. Fantastic singles. Um, then 20 somethings, again, I'm going to need more time with it. I've only listened to it a couple of times. It's enjoyable. Dade County Dreaming, it's fun, but there's good parts to it. But again, it doesn't flow super well. Like we have a piano kind of in there, and you got beautiful vocals from Camila, and then we have a JT Young Miami verse to kind of start and like in the middle of the song. Like how are these two part of the same song? But overall, I like it. I just don't know if it's the same quality as the singles. Hot Uptown is one of the best songs on this album. Drake and Camila's kind of contrast between their vocals, very, very engaging. They sound great together. And it's a very summery track, perfect for this kind of late June release. Ugly, it's a solid track to kind of um, transition Hot Uptown, Ugly, and into Dreamgirls. I feel like that works. I don't know if I would primarily put on Ugly itself, but if I was listening to Hot Uptown and then going from that like 3-track run, I wouldn't skip Ugly. Just it kind of doesn't make sense for me to listen to it on its own. Dreamgirls is a fun reggaeton track. El Guincho kind of snapped. I'm pretty sure he produced that one because I know he produced most of the album. Yeah, produced by El Guincho. That one's a fun one. 305 Till I Die, still an interlude. I think it's okay. Best of All Time, that's a pretty nice ballad. It's got the kind of hotel room service sample, which is really really unique. Um, but yeah, I really really like it. Pretty When I Cry, it's got some interesting production. It's very very upbeat. Um, the actual sample or whatever is going on replaying in this track, I actually find it a little annoying in some parts. And if it was just the main beat, is that my alarm going? I don't know where that could possibly be from, but I hear an alarm. I'm going crazy. Um, but yeah, I feel like some parts can be seen as annoying, but overall it's a good track. And then June Gloom, one of the best tracks on this album as well. It's a ballad with more complex elements and then kind of goes more upbeat and crazy and experimental to end this album. So some of my least favorite tracks, I'm going to go over them right now. I don't know if I have any least favorite tracks, to be completely honest. I don't know if I do. Um, Dade County Dreamin' is something that's going to have to grow on me. I feel like it's a little kind of, it just doesn't all fit together as one part. Song sounds like many different songs combined into one. 20 somethings, I think it's a pleasant track. Just gonna need more time with it because it's more basic than any of the kind of other songs on here. Ugly, I guess, but again, I feel like it's more of a kind of counterpiece to Hot Uptown than kind of a standalone track. I mean, other than that, I feel like maybe Boat is kind of lacking in some areas. But I also really, really like that in some areas. Best tracks on this album, we have June Gloom, Dreamgirls, Hot Uptown. That's not including the singles, by the way. Because if I was including the singles, favorite tracks would be I Love It, Chanel No. 5, He Knows, Hot Uptown, Dreamgirls, and probably June Gloom. So, yeah, we're 3 for 3 on the singles. Again, I feel like this is a solid album from Camila. I just feel, again, the interludes are a problem. And there are parts of this album where the lyricism is quite questionable. And, I mean, yeah, I feel like that could be worked on. But there's a little bit of a quirkiness to it. And I like when she gets confident and kind of starts saying that. So, you know, people have their kind of two kind of separate sides to lyrics like that. Like, you're being confident or it's cringe. Like, people have two different sides to that, and I can totally see either side. But yeah, what would I score this album? My initial scoring, to be honest, was like a 5.5 or a 6 on my first listen. But after multiple listens, I would give this maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. It's not my favorite album from her. I think Familia is still my favorite from her. I really liked the kind of blend of tracks there. I thought it was a very, very cohesive piece. Camila, I thought that was a fantastic album as well. It had some basic tracks, and I think it was a little generic, but I think it's still pretty good songwriting for her debut. Romance, there's some solid singles and solid album tracks, but some filler as well. In my opinion, this is her third best album, Romance being my least favorite. But again, I might have to re-listen to Romance to fully get it because it's been a hot minute since I listened to it. But yeah, a 7.5 on this album. Again, some things are lacking that could definitely make it better. Some songs sound disjointed in areas, and the interludes kind of, again, sound disjointed in kind of terms of the album. But yeah, it's kind of mostly a rap album than a hyperpop album. I would have liked to see it go a little bit more experimental. But I'm happy with kind of what came out of it. I like the singles. Album tracks are good. Very, very solid album. Let me know what your favorite tracks are down in the comment section down below. What do you score this album? Did it kind of exceed your expectations? Or did it not live up to your expectations? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment for more videos like this. I hope you guys enjoy the review style of things. Again, when I can't listen to it on my computer or anything like that, it's just definitely easier, and I know it's probably not better suited for the audience because I like to hear the songs and my instant opinions, and some of that can be lost, but I feel like I wrapped up my entire thoughts kind of pretty much how I thought when I listened to it. So again, let me know if you like this style, because this is a way it doesn't get copyrighted when you're listening to something. It definitely is easier to get copyrighted, and it mostly does every single time. But yeah, again, let me know what your favorite track is. Hope you guys enjoyed the review style thing. It's not going to be an every time thing, but yeah, we have Megan Thee Stallion and Omar Apollo albums to react to, so I will be reacting to those. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, Camila, pretty solid album.